Did it start?
I push start. It's recording. I can't see anyone joining though.
Okay, let's wait for a few more minutes. I'm pretty sure they're gonna join now.
Cool. Should I stop recording?
No. They're normally on time. Today they're a bit late. It's the long holiday.
Here's someone. 4.
Yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes for everybody just to come join us. There we go. Hello, guys.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Just a few more minutes before we start.
Yeah. Hi, Melinda. Hi, everyone. You can pop in and pop your name and say hello. Tell us where you're from. Generally, it's always quite nice. I know everyone's kind of having screen fatigue, but if you feel like chatting, we'll say hi. We've got someone else who's joined with us.
Hi, Melinda.
Yes. Great. Cool.
Super. I see we're getting there. So let's give it 1 more minute, I think.
Cool.
So that.
Hi, Tanya. Yay, from South
Tanya.
Africa. Ibrahim. Ibrahim, where are you from?
And hello, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And Ethan.
Yay.
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg.
Yay.
So we got a Josie crew here. Hi, 011 land and surrounding areas. Cool. Hi, Tabo.
Hi, Tabo.
Great.
Go, Lynn.
Hi, Lexus Nexus.
Hello,
Yes, we
Lexus.
see. Hi, Lexus Nexus. Nice to meet you all. Cool.
Hi, Veno. Welcome back. Veno is always here. Welcome back,
yes. Hi, Veno. Hi.
And hi, Monica.
Great. Okay.
Let's rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Well, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hi, Warren from Lexus Nexus. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for today's conversation. We know it's like after the long weekend, but it's it's always great to get on board in having a conversation. So Spoo and I work for the Sales Enablement Company. Sibusiso is the MD, so he's the thought child behind building the Sales Enablement Company. And we're just going to have like an informal conversation around some of the biggest challenges that sales leaders, sales people are encountering in achieving their quota. What we'd really love is for everyone to share like, what are some of the common challenges that you are having? If you post questions throughout the conversation, we'll make sure that we get to it. Because we find the more that we share and learn from each other, the bigger and stronger we get as individuals, but also as a sales community where we can learn from one another and empower. We do also have a YouTube channel where we normally post the links, so you'll get a link from us. We have a YouTube channel of previous webinars where we've had some of our partners from San Francisco join us to have a conversation. So please feel free to go check it out. And if you have any outstanding questions or queries, please let us know. You can get a hold of us via LinkedIn, you know, all the normal things. So cool. Let's launch into the conversation. So Spoo, obviously we've set up this conversation to talk about the biggest challenges that, you know, sales leaders, sales people are encountering in achieving their quota or hitting their targets or day-to-day life. And I just wanted to find out, what are some of the things that you have been encountering at clients and you know, sharing with them of how to overcome these things. So let's start.
Okay, fantastic. Hi guys, thank you very much for joining our webinar. We really appreciate it. This has been growing month on, and we always get some good feedback from everybody who's benefiting. Some guys have become a bit of sales stars just from following what we share here. And basically, you know, we love sales. We love salespeople. So, you know, I used to be a developer. I chose to move into sales. So I really love sales. So let me just track back and just explain how this topic came about. You know, sales in general is a hard career because, you know, in sales, you get paid by doing the job. You know, if you don't sell something, you don't eat. If you don't sell something, possibly no commission. You know, you can't write your own check. So, you know, it's always been a stressful job in terms of looking at that. And there's always been challenges when it comes to you know, achieving your quota, hitting your target, whether it's a monthly, whether it's a quarterly, whether it's a yearly target. It's always been there. But now more than ever, the challenges come through from now COVID-19. You know, since we've been through COVID-19, and you know, that whole change has made it extremely harder to actually, you know, meet your quota. So we thought, let's just have a session where we can just share what we're doing with our clients, what we've seen works. So, and I'm going to share a few things here, you know, with everyone here. And I'm hoping that you guys can, you know, just write a few things from you that you have. And please feel free, like Tanya just did now, to place your own challenges that you have there. And what we'll do, we will then try and talk to those every single time when we move on ahead. Number one challenge that I find wherever we go, salespeople are struggling to talk to the right person in order to have the conversation which they need to have with somebody else. So that's the first thing. How do we get an appointment with somebody to have a conversation with regard to our offering? That's number one. Shana, then number two is that once we actually have the conversation with somebody, some salespeople are struggling then with the quality that they have with the conversation, you know, with the person, in order to be able to close the deal, move the deal forward, you know, or get some kind of commitment from them. I find all the time that, you know, the conversation is very weak. That happens between the salesperson and the prospect. And there's a number of reasons which we'll get into, where we explain exactly why is that. And sometimes then the challenge, you know, I'm going to mention three here, but then the other challenge is that salespeople are struggling to understand how to move their deal from one stage to another stage to another stage. And that's very important because, you know, you begin your deal with the first one now, which is like, you know, a lead coming into, then you move from one pod to another pod. How then do you deal with those? And we find that people are struggling. So people are struggling on how can you effectively move your deals from one stage to another stage.
Cool. So Spoo, then in terms of like starting off, let's start off with everyone. And I can see that Tanya Smith is also posted here saying, battling to get contact details for the decision makers in new industry. We've been tasked to source sales in new industries, uncommon to us. It's a challenge to get the right person to speak to. So I think let's start right there, right? So, you know, today we're in COVID, we're in this crazy thing that just fell out of the sky, and it's causing us to work in different ways, and really trying to think around, you know, it's not so easy to phone people on their cell phones because we've also got puppy coming into play, and like there are all these challenges that we are encountering. So step one as a salesperson, what would you say is a good starting point for us to just kind of get the lay of the land so that we can succeed going forward?
All right, super. So I think I'm going to answer that and go back to Tanya's question there while I try and also, explain what I think Tanya must do there. Tanya, if you don't mind letting us know, are you on LinkedIn by any chance? Just let us know on the comment, and I'll give you a few tips what you can do then on LinkedIn to be able to reach that.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Love it. Okay,
thanks, Tanya.
Perfect. So the first thing we need to understand, and this will go down to everyone there in terms of what you have as your challenge, whether it's objection handling, whether it's battling to get in front of decision makers in the new industry. You need to understand and try and see what are the lowest lying fruits, hanging fruits that one can get, which can give you the highest return. So some of the challenges, they might be a bit too big for us to tackle, but if you can look, what can I do today, which can quickly make a change for me to be able to quickly get and move on forward and get some kind of a response or get a way to move forward. That's the first thing. So if I go back now to Tanya, it now must move into a different industry to society. By the way, Tanya, that's what startups go through every single day. You've got a new product there, and now you must go find new decision makers without any resources. So welcome to the world of startups. That's how we were in the beginning. What I've found for us, what has really helped us grow in the industry, number one, is that we've been able to use LinkedIn effectively. So we are on Sales Navigator. Everybody in the team is on Sales Navigator. And then we've gone through and we've actually we're going to create a list of all our target markets. So, we are able to go and say we're looking for sales leaders who are at the specific phase where their company has got over 50 employees who are in this industry. And what we've done from the LinkedIn, by being able to get hold of those people, we've then been able to then look at new decision makers in which we can get hold of those guys. Now, that's one way to get a list on how you can actually get hold of them. How you actually then go ahead and make contact with them, that's different. That's how you find the list. If you're not on Sales Navigator, what we suggest you do, if you have one person that you've got and that is aligned to the industry that you're looking to get. Normally, if you go and you connect with them on LinkedIn, LinkedIn will then give you a number of different suggestions of people who are similar to the ones that you're looking for in the industry. So you can go and look for those. That's the second thing. Third advice for Tanya, if you can go to LinkedIn and look for groups in which your prospects they reside in. So, for instance, we are in the sales and training business. Therefore, the groups that I'm in are groups that have to do with sales, with marketing, with sales enablement. If you go to those groups, free, you just get in there, you get into the group, suddenly you have access to all the people that you've got in that industry to be able to speak to. And the good thing about being in those groups, you get to understand what their pain points are. What is it that they're struggling with that you're able to know exactly when to talk to them, what is their struggle, and how you can assist them as Tanya.
Cool.
Cool, Jay? Yeah.
So okay, so we've identified who those people are, and now, as I'm sure, and I'm not sure if everyone just wants to maybe raise their hand and let us know like how hard it is to get hold of people via the phone. Okay, so and emails, we know emails, it's like a whole nother story because everyone's swimming in emails because it's admin, it's businesses trying to communicate effectively with their teams. So how then could we as a salesperson or a sales leader begin having quite a decent conversation with a prospect going forward? What would you suggest, Sbu?
Yeah, okay. So again, I'm going to answer that while looking at Melinda's question here about objection handling, which is our favorite subject as salespeople. We love that. But remember, Melinda, we always tell our clients that objection handling is not a no. It's an invitation to have a conversation with a client.
Absolutely.
You know, and if you know your personas very well, we spend a lot of time where we say, salespeople must understand exactly what the pains that they're trying to solve with their prospects, because then you're able to understand when somebody has an objection. You're then able to understand where is it that they're coming from, because you know their world so well. And you know, so you are then welcome to have conversations with them. But Shayna, in terms of now it's COVID, and now we can talk to people over the phone. What are some of the ways that we can reach out to? So the challenge there is then prospecting. So number one, by the way, I've found over the last few weeks that I've been able now to get all of people over the phone more often than before. And I'll tell you why. Because these people are businesswomen, they're businessmen. They also want to be connected to the world out there. So everybody over the last few months now has made ways for them. So somehow, if you can call them, reach them, to be able to reach them over the phone, whether it goes through the office, whether it will go through, the PA, that's one way. But for some reason, if you've not been able to get hold of them over the phone, where are your prospects living at the moment? Where do they go? Where do you find them? So I'm a Zulu man, I'm supposed to hunt, I think. I think, if I was born in the 1800s and I needed to feed my family, I was go and hunt. Now, if you can't go hunt where there's no food. So we need to understand now, at the moment, during this COVID thing, your prospects have moved to a certain corner. They've moved to a certain platform. Where are they? If you know where to find them, then you will be able then to reach out to them. So a month ago, you'll be able to go and find them, at the airport, at the lounge, because then you'll be able to advertise your stuff at the lounge, but you can't anymore. But where are they? Because they are also looking a connection with the world. One of the ways which we've seen, and there's been a huge pickup on this, is LinkedIn. But now the problem is that since we all know that our prospects have moved into LinkedIn, we are all sending the messages the same way. The only way to be different now, the only way to make an impact now is to be different, be like Steve Jobs. How then are you going to approach them differently from what your competitor is doing? We had a seminar here, we had a webinar here about 2 months ago, where we said you need to use video prospecting, and we had somebody who had made a lot of money just on video prospecting, and she was sharing to us how she's teaching the best companies in the US to be able to do this. And we've come back and we've been doing this with our clients. And I can tell you right now, all our clients who are doing this are seeing more and more success, because people are tired of seeing the same messages all the time on their phone. They want to see a quick video. It's new, it's exciting. Sometimes, by the way, with a guy who used to work here and he's now moved on to one of our clients, sometimes, even though they wouldn't give him an appointment, they'll say, wow, this is so unique. We love this. You're now at that mindset where people are thinking about you as differently. So that's one thing I'll do. Try and see what you can be different. Remember, prospecting is one thing. Prospecting is about how can you interrupt somebody's day in a way that they give you enough attention to be able to have a conversation with you. So you can't be doing the same thing all the time. You can't be doing the same thing that you were taught pre-COVID. It's changed, guys. It's different now. How can you do it differently today to be able to do, to make that impact?
And I suppose, that's the thing that comes with the territory that we all of us part of this webinar inhabit is like, we're salespeople, you know, and what happens is your immediate reaction when you get that call, and, you know, or like those awful pre-recorded telemarketing calls that come through. It's like, we don't feel like we're a human. And it's not to say that you have to go and like superficially, I suppose, engage with someone, but it's just going, I respect your time. I respect my time. I'm here to ask you 2 or 3 questions to find out whether this is a good match for us or not. And if it is, then we can carry on that conversation and we can plan the next steps. And that kind of feeds onto what Tato is asking about, you know, finding the sweet spot between following up and not overwhelming a prospect. Or you can also just get a clear no and move on. And I think a lot of times as salespeople, we're very afraid of getting that no. And we'd rather be busy with our activity. And as you were saying, it goes back to that first point that you brought up in the beginning, was like the quality of the conversations. Do you want to maybe take us through that? So we're speaking about mindset is one of the starting points. Is there anything else that you could add to that we can consider, first as an individual, secondly as a leader, and then thirdly as a team, and then as a community in the broader scheme of things?
Yeah, thanks, Shay. And it's very simple. So anytime a salesperson is dealing with a challenge, we can put it into under 3 different categories. Okay. And you know, the word we have comes from the word mastery, as you know, master. So how do you become a master in sales? And then the base word which we have there are the first few letters, that's MAS of mastery. The first thing when somebody has a challenge, they must ascertain whether, is this a mindset challenge? And what do I mean by that? We all have mindset challenges at some point, you know. So it could become a self-limiting belief, or do you have a supporting belief? And I'll go back to our favorite subject. How many times have you been told cold calling is dead? You know, I've been told this for the last 10 years. The business we're in right now has been built via cold calling. Our clients are thriving because of cold calling. But because people have been told that you know, that cold calling is dead, it therefore makes their mindset not want to try cold calling. So, you know, if I say to you cold calling is dead, I mean, it doesn't matter what I try and do to be able to get you to believe in cold calling. Even when you make a call, you're going to be like, hi, this is Boo. You're bored because of your mindset tells you that cold calling is dead. So your own beliefs are limiting you. But if you think cold calling, you know, there's something there. You can hit 100 dials and not getting, you know, any success, but your enthusiasm will not drop because you still see the power of cold calling. So that's the first thing, mindset. So anybody can ask themselves now, when it comes to the challenge that you have now, is it a mindset problem or is it not? One of the ways, by the way, you know, you've been given a target of 1 million, 100 million, 40 million, 20 million, 1 billion. Does your mindset stop at some point? You know, your mindset was okay with saying 1 million, yeah, fine, 1 million. But as soon as I said 30 million, your mindset like, no, I'm not gonna do that. If your mind tells you that, well, you have the target, there's no way you're gonna make 30 million. You're gonna get to 15 because that's your favorite, your best number. And then you won't want to try and then go over and above. But if for you, 30 million is nothing, you're gonna go hit the number and go way over. The second thing that we need to have a look at when looking at a challenge is this an activity-based challenge? So let's say I believe in cold calling, I know it works, but my struggle is that I'm not doing enough of the cold calls to be able to convert. That's different. You know, it's not the matter that I don't have enough appointments, but I don't believe in appointments, but I don't have enough appointments. How then do I fix the activity to be able to give me the number that I want? And sometimes I have the activity, I've got the right mindset, but I just don't have the skill, guys. No one has ever taught me this. And we see this all the time. Not many people go into sales because they want to, you know, they were doing something else, then they couldn't get a job somewhere else. They're like, okay, I'll go into sales. And then suddenly they're stuck now with this sales thing. That's the problem with a lot of people who are in sales today. So then there's no skill set, we're just winging it. And unfortunately for the industry of salespeople, we seem to think people who can wing it are good sales guys, Actually, sometimes my friends will say, oh, this guy is a great sales guy, he'll wing it, man. But true sales guys actually are the ones that have been skilled and have been trained in the right way of doing something, whether it's prospecting, whether it's doing a discovery questioning, whether it's objection handling, whether it's demonstrating or presenting a product. People have to be trained the right way before we can expect results from them as sales managers. And we deal with companies here, small and big. And guys, even today, I was having a conversation with a client who was saying the exact same thing to me, that we're struggling because we've never been trained. For the last 10 years, this guy has been in sales. He's now been trained by the company on how to sell the product. And the company expects him to every single year, make target. It's almost impossible. So I want to quickly speak there to Tato. How does one find a sweet spot between diligent following up and overwhelming to the prospect? We have an acronym that we use in the business. We use a lot of acronyms. One of them is that you need to help the client. So number one, if I'm going to use the word help, I'm going to say, you need to go back and highlight what you guys were dealing with when you started having a conversation with the client. Why clients seem to ghost you is because they don't see the value per se from you, from what you've been saying. That's one. So you need to go back and when you follow up, go back and say, listen, when we first spoke, you mentioned to me this was the problem, pain 1, pain 2, pain 3. Is this still a concern with you? Because they'll tell you whether it is and whether it's not. But as a company as well, as an organization as well, it's important then to have it's important for you guys to have a number of times where you say, listen, after we've done 5 touches with this client as a follow-up, we move them back to not responsive, we put them back to a cold lead, and you're going to begin again there from scratch. And normally what we do on the stage, we send them what we call a breakup email. Now, a breakup email is not a nice email to send, but it gives you the results. It's what is done for us. It's a client that's either come back and said, Sbu, I find you arrogant in what you've just said now, but that's so good, therefore I want to go ahead with your business. So sometimes they say, okay, Sbu, I'm sorry I didn't come back to you. This is not a good time for us, so we can't talk. Either way, I know now what I need to do, because what you don't want to do also as somebody who's in sales, this person, is to keep following up with the client who's not there all the time. This is where we mess up our forecasting, because we're busy submitting those leads that very well that are not going to close because no one has committed us in that they want to actually follow up with this. Shay?
I suppose that feeds back. It feeds back to that, like you get the no in the front or you get the yes, but you always make sure that you get next steps that the prospect has agreed to, because then it's fair. Everyone knows what's going to be happening next, and there's a buy-in, and everyone is feeling quite like safe in this environment, because that's the problem, right? When we get bombarded with a salesperson, I mean, what's the first thing that happens when we walk in a store and someone comes up to you and they say, hi, can we help you? Like, what do we say? We're like, no, I'm okay. I'm just looking, thanks. So this kind of helps in that aspect. Fair point, Sbu. I see Tabo has written quite a long thing, so if you can, then Larissa will get back to you.
Yes.
Tabo yes.
Let me just look at Tabo now, say that LinkedIn has proved not to be very productive in the government space. Okay, I can get that. Their policies have shown, even after being part of helping create the terms of reference to go out on 10 out of Q, tend to lose the deal based on supply rotation, mainly the ecosystem. how do we overcome this challenge? Product and price is right, but the objection I mentioned are a big obstacle for me. So I've played a lot in the space, Thabo. So I share your pain. I really share your pain. And my advice to you, so government is a different altogether, a different animal altogether. In government, it's really about your relationship that you have with somebody. I found that the stronger you have a relationship with the persona that you are dealing with, the better you have a chance in actually closing the deal. As you've mentioned there, you can sometimes do a deal or do an RFQ or do TORs with them for terms of reference, and then you end up losing the deal because most likely they've got somebody else who's either close to them, unless of course there's some corruption involved, which is something else. So I think what I would do, Thabo, with you, number one, I will look at how unique your product is compared to other guys, because the reason why they're able to take your price and do a 3-quota system is because there might be too many similarities with other players in the market. I don't know where you are in the space in terms of your what you sell, and whether you are able to make your solution a bit more unique, because then the more unique it is, the more you can have terms of reference which are jointly aligned and looking at you. Even if your product is not that strong, that different, how different is your company then in being able to be different? Because if you have those different things that you have as a business, that might give you that leverage where you can just show. Yeah, I think that's it, because I think in your case, we could always chat offline afterwards so that one understands your product and how well you work in the space and why they will have a 3-quota system. Because if they invite you to be able to do the TOR, it almost should be a done deal before the RFQ, unless they're just using you guys or somebody else where they're a bit stronger. But I think in your case, if you can have a stronger relationship with them, you should be able to see what you can do with that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great stuff.
And then Larissa asks, what typically do you place in a breakup email, Spoo?
Thank you. So very, very easy. So what I normally say in a breakup email, not very nice. I say, hi, Larissa. We've been talking for about 2 weeks. I haven't had anything from you now at this stage. So typically when I haven't heard from you, it either means, number one, that you're too busy to reply to me, or secondly, you have no interest in what I have to say, actually. Either way, please let me know, and let me know if I can close your file. And then my subject line, will either be permission to close the file, or the other one would be, are you okay? And funny enough, when we send the are you okay, they always go back and they say it, then come back and give us the response from there. I hope that helps.
She says thank you. Perfect. And Thabo, noted with thanks, Spoo. Great. Okay, so Spoo, we've spoken about the mindset, we've spoken about the activity, we've spoken about the skill set, right? But I want to swim the Robben Island Challenge one day, okay? And I know that if I had to go and dive in that water in Cape Town, I'll probably get hypothermia not make the distance to swim, and come out like a flapping porpoise, okay? So my step one is to get a coach, someone who's going to help guide me and get me there, okay? Some mornings, it's okay to get up at 4:30 and get in the pool and swim. But I know that I'm still not ready. And some days it's just hard. So how then, what are the kinds of things that we could do to help our minds shift in the right direction? Because even as a salesperson, once upon a time, I'd go to work pumped, like I'm going to cold call, I'm going to crush my cold calls, I'm going to book all those appointments. And then you get there, you sit down, and suddenly the phone rings and admin and all those things start to happen, and like it's work. And then all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock and like there's no one to call because no one's at, well, sometimes there are people in their offices at 5, but you know what I mean? You kind of lost that momentum. So how do you suggest to everyone that we could like start shifting that up so that we can make sure that we follow through with that mindset, that activity, that skill set that we need to do, as you know, cold calling being the main thing that we're focusing on?
Yeah, a good one. So, funny story, my brother is getting married in the next 4 weeks, I think.
Okay.
So, as mentioned, I'm Zulu, so I'm going to have to wear a traditional attire. And I'm sure you saw from TV over the last few days how, you know, exposed I'm going to be. So, I thought to myself, hey, I want to look good for this guy's wedding. So about 2 months ago, I went to gym, started going to gym with you know, with somebody who's like half my age. And I mean, I was pumped, Shay. I was ready for this thing, man. I mean, I used to work out, you know, some time ago. So I once looked good. So I knew I could do this, you know. So I went, got myself a partner who is a coach, could be a coach in this instance. And first day, man, we went crazy. We killed, you know. This guy can bench press like 100 kgs, you know. So I thought, listen, if you can do 100 kgs, surely I can do 40. And I did my 40. I killed it. We did my 40. We did triceps. I mean, I left and I was feeling great. At night, I started feeling pains. You know, for those who know, once you start gymming, sometimes you can't wash your face because, you know, it's just pains that are normal. But mine was crazy. I couldn't wake up the following day. I could not pick up a phone. So the team will tell you I canceled all my meetings because I couldn't stand. I mean, I couldn't put on my earphones. I couldn't put on my glasses. I went crazy too much on the first day. And as a result, I had to stay 2 more weeks out of action where I couldn't go back to gym. I then asked my friend, Paul, who is a sports scientist, I said, Paul, what did I do wrong? He said, Sbu, you are no longer a young man. You're getting old, my brother. So next time you go to gym, biggie by biggie, small by small.
Okay.
If you have a challenge right now while you're not you know, achieving your quota, don't try and change the world tomorrow. Identify what is it that's small that you can do today. One of the things you can do today. Instead of saying you're going to go and spend 4 hours on cold calling, how about you say, I'm going to go and spend 30 minutes on cold calling tomorrow? Out of your busy day, I'm sure you can commit 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, now what you must do differently this time, though, is that when you do your cold callings, don't just go and do cold calling and go crazy. Do a cold call. Then from there, take a notebook and write down how the call was. How was it received? How did you do? What could you have done better? This can work for a cold call. This can work for a presentation. This could work to after you send an email. You could do every single time. Just go and do all that. Once you do just a small biggie by biggie, and then you measure yourself, you will see after a week of just doing that, suddenly you would have gained a bit of more confidence in what you're doing. And suddenly you will be a bit of a master a bit in what you're doing. And remember what I told you earlier about the mindset, how it can be limiting and it can stop you from doing stuff. Now, what Nike figured, and this is why Nike says just do it. Nike figured this years ago that the only motivation you can give somebody for them to start exercising is not to push them to exercise, it's for them to just do it. And I mean, I say it with me now since I started going to gym, and I know it doesn't show, I think something is wrong with the camera here. It doesn't show how good I look. I actually look good, you know, this camera is here, you know. But since I've started going to gym, even my eating has changed. I haven't had wine in 2 months, and that's new for me if you know me. And it's purely for one reason. I started doing something incrementing. And by doing that one thing, everything else around my life started changing to support this thing I've got. So if you say to yourself, listen, I want to change how I prospect, and you go and you change your prospecting game, you find that actually even your discovery game changes, even your follow-up games changes, even your discipline changes, because it almost feels like the mind is saying to you, Sbu, you can't do this one thing and not, excel on the other ones. I'll tell you one more story. I used to work with this young man, and I remember, years ago, we both joined this company. They were struggling in sales. They were in government as well. They were struggling in sales just for that department. And we used to go in on weekends to try and build our cold call list. Now, can you imagine what was going through my mind? I was here over the weekend to build a cold call list. Surely I'm going to do well on this cold call because I don't want to waste my weekend. So your mindset seems to have a ripple effect on everything you can do entirely when it comes to sales. Shay, I'm not going to ignore you, continue, but there's somebody who's busy sending us messages on LinkedIn. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Cool. So Anko Rabile has contributed to the conversation saying, not so much of a question, but a comment. I totally agree with the use of a breakup email. I think when done right, i.e. you as a salesperson have followed all the necessary stages, actions, it shows that you not only respect your prospect's time, but you value yours as well. Absolutely. You can bring value to your prospect, but if they haven't realized it, then value your time. 100%. And that feeds back to that comment of going, sometimes in the beginning, we should be able to ask the right questions to the right people that we've identified that maybe our product can help service. And we just want to get a yes or a no. And if we get a no, we say thank you for their time and we move on. And if we get a yes, then we can open up that conversation and push through in however our process would go. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it allows you then to go and spend time with prospects who want to buy into you. You don't have to spend time with prospects who have told you that they want to buy from you anyway.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is in terms of prospecting, often we want to change, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but it's like often we want to change every 2 days because we feel like it's not working. But, sales, as we say, it's about numbers, it's about metrics, it's quite scientific in many ways. So maybe it's also about limiting it to testing one or two things and just tweaking one aspect. But if you're sending out a commentary or an email, it's with 3 valid points that you found that someone has been battling with previously that fits the similar persona that you're dealing with now. And you don't then go and reinvent the wheel and create a brand new email, but you maybe just tweak one little aspect of it. And slowly but surely, in those increments of what, like you're saying, you start to find what starts to work in those specific points.
Yeah, and that's very important, and I know that salespeople are under pressure. We've got sales, we've got targets, you've got your CEO, your sales manager. It's rough being a salesperson, it's rough. But guys, it's important not to have a short-minded mindset. You must think long-term. I know that you're supposed to close in the next week or so. But what I found is that the people who seem to always think about the sale for tomorrow, they don't have time to think long-term the right way, which means you don't get to plan the right way. And this goes to how sales managers must run their pipeline. Whenever you go into a pipeline meeting, it should not be about what's going to be closing this month. You must be looking at what's going to be closing in over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. What are we doing today to close what's going to be happening in the next 6 months? Because if we do that, then I won't change things today because I'm now moved by frustration. And by the way, somebody once told me this, and he said, prospects can smell desperation. If you are so desperate to somebody, you're always trying to talk to, to push them. They will sense that and they will reject you. They won't even respect you for your craft now. So it's important then to look at what you're doing here and say, okay, I'm a professional in this game that I am right now, How then can I make sure that I, do it the right way in the long term?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Were there any questions that came through from LinkedIn?
No. So they were just struggling to get in, but they were able to go through. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any specific challenges that they are experiencing at this particular point that we could, oh, here we go, Thabo. How often does one have to reevaluate a sales plan that is not bearing fruit? I want to put more effort into something that does work. That's a great question.
It's a very good question.
Mm.
And I must just understand now whether by sales plan, are you talking about the whole plan for the whole year? Or are we talking about what you've got for the month? So how a sales plan, annual, good, okay. So how a sales plan should work. You need to do what we call a backward plan. Look at your annual plan for what you need to achieve for the next 12 months, right? And then you write it back. You go back month by month, what it takes for you to be able to achieve that. The annual plan can stay the same, but it will be influenced by what's happening today, every single month. So you cannot wait for a whole year to say, by the way, guys, this plan doesn't work. Sorry, boss. Sorry, manager. Sorry, guys. That's why I couldn't achieve my target, because the plan doesn't work. So a formal plan must, every single quarter, you must evaluate the formal plan based on what you had as a budget and what you have achieved to date on the target. That's what we must do every single time, every single quarter. But there are activities which you do as a salesperson. Those guys, you do them for a week. If something doesn't work, if you try to go through and put on a new message into the market, and you send 1,000 messages and not even one response comes back, then you need to come back and say, guys, we tried this for a week, it didn't work out. It means we're not connecting with our prospects. Then you change that. But a formal plan, every single quarter, I'll sit down with the team and change that so that it then fits what I need to do for the quarter.
Because I suppose that's the thing. Often we get bogged down in doing so much admin, and like we get lost. Our time, as we know, I mean, it's 1848. How did an hour like nearly fly by? Time flies by, and so like the admin and all of that. So we've got to focus on doing the right things to make sure that we keep achieving what we need to achieve. Yeah.
And what I wanted to say, by the way, Shayla, one of the things which I see that salespeople don't exercise a lot is the figure it out factor. Every salesperson out there, you have to have a figure it out factor element in you somehow, because sales is one job where things aren't the same all the time. Things change. Things, there's COVID now. You get there and the guy you were talking to has left the business. There's just so many things which can happen. And as a salesperson, you must be able to figure things out quickly, to quickly understand what can work, what can I do quickly, which can work in your field. And that's very important.
Okay, we've got one last question from Kweku. It says, what are the key things to consider when doing a face-to-face sale when the capital cost to the client is quite high?
That's a great question. I'm trying to understand what Kweku means when he says capital cost to the client. Is he saying that when you're selling stuff which are expensive, I suppose?
Yeah, maybe. Kweku, could you just, yes, expensive.
Yeah, okay, cool, perfect, good.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Thank
you.
Lovely question. So the idea of expensive, Kweku, is there's no expensive in this world. It just depends if you're selling the right product to the right person. If I came back and I said to you, listen, I've got a pill here. This pill can make you smart over the next 24 hours. The pill costs, let's say, 1 million rand. Will you buy it? maybe not. Maybe you might. Some guys might not buy. Let's say you have the money. Maybe Koko has the money. Let's say you have the money. I say, okay, it's 1 million rand, and here's the pill. For the next 24 hours, you're gonna be smart. If I came back to you and say, listen, Kweku, your dog, I'm gonna use a dog. I don't know if it's got a dog. Your dog is very sick and it's gonna die. And this dog means a lot to you. You were given this dog by your late grandfather. It's the only thing you have which reminds you of your grandfather. And say, here is a pill which will make you so smart. You can figure out a cure to save your dog. Not only can you save your dog, you are able to take this pill and solve all the other problems that other dogs are having there. So by buying this pill for me for 1 million, potentially after 24 hours, you could figure out a cure which could make you a millionaire in the next 24 hours. The price hasn't changed, but how I've positioned the value of what I'm selling has changed. So it's the same thing here. When having a face-to-face conversation with a client where expensive is a problem, I like that. When the problem is expensive with a client, you need to get down to what we call a discovery call, where you can get to ask the questions and understand what is the pain which they're trying to solve. What pain is it? What's the pain which your product can solve this person? Because if you can get the pain, for them to understand the pain, then they will not have a problem with expensive, because they know exactly what you are offering to them. We get boggled down too much on the pricing instead of spending too much time on uncovering our clients and understanding who our clients are. What is their pain? What is their struggle? What can I do today to solve their problems? If you can do that face to face with the client, you will never have any problem again with expensive.
Great. Thank you. And Tato said, John Wick would love that pill. This is great content. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tato. Cool.
I've never watched any movie by John Wick. Can you believe it? Never watched any movie by any John Wick movie.
Let me just check. I see there's another Q&A. I like the answer. Nothing is expensive if you're selling it to the right person. Correct. Correct. Great. Does anyone else have any other question as we begin? We're nearing the end of our time. Start wrapping up. We could take 1 or 2 more questions. Okay. Suge Naidu, highlight the cost of not doing it right is if the initial cost outlay can reduce future costs, save time, address risks. What is the potential value versus the cost? Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Comments, positioning value. Yes, thank you, Tabo. Cool. I have taken 5 good points. Thank you, Tanya, from this session. Thank you. And it's always so lovely to hear if you guys ever want to reach out to us or anything, please tell us how you're going, where you're growing, what's going on, what's working for you, what's you're kind of like a little stuck on. It's so great to keep these kind of conversations happening. We do have one thing though. We would like Spoo's going to select a winner. We're giving away our prospecting bundle, which is available on our online learning platform called Closed Loop University, and you would be going through the Sales Enablement Company. So Spoo, it's to the value of 1,700 Rand. These learnings quite high impact. It's very interactive, and you walk away with quite a lot of input. So Spoo, would you please select who the correct person, or who the lucky winner is? And as you can see, Spoo's just posted it for you guys to go and check out on our platform, the professional prospecting bundle. So Spoo.
Yeah. So Shay, we were gonna give away 1, but I've changed my mind. I think we must give away 2, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So yay. Melinda, are you still here? Because Melinda has to be here for her to get the prize, because she was the first person to join. That's why I'm giving her the prize, only if she's here.
I think Melinda has maybe left us. I don't see her.
She had to go. I'm so sorry,
She's
Melinda.
gone. Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
Melinda.
So sorry, Melinda. All right, okay. Then the next person I'm gonna give it to then would be Tanya, who has got 5 steps, five points.
Yay, Tanya, congratulations, you are a winner. Woo, Tanya Smith.
and somebody who asked the most questions and did the, was very engaging. That's Tabo.
Yay, Tabo, congratulations. Sorry,
Super,
Warren. Yay.
So Tanya and Tabo will send you guys the links. It's an amazing course. I know it's gonna make an impact. It's gonna just, make you guys, your sales go crazy on the next level. So guys, thank you very much for joining. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll send you the link of this conversation. And yeah, keep in touch. Every month we have a webinar, and we always learn from you as much as we learn having these conversations. So thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Have a beautiful, take care. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Ciao. Ciao.